Back on health care, why is it that the Republicans haven't been able to say, you know what, there is a problem? Because there is a problem with health care. We've just talked about a couple. We've talked about tort law, the inability to buy across state lines. Why is it that Republicans haven't been able to say, we have a plan, here's what it is, our plan is this, and sell it? Instead, Republicans do what Republicans do. They say, we're against that, not that we're for this.
I think that we have a leadership problem, obviously. There is no obvious and evident spokesperson for the Republican Party. Why that should be so at a moment when the Republican Party would seem to have every opportunity of putting itself in an advantageous oppositional position with Obama, I really don't know. I think the Republican Party has turned over its leadership responsibilities to people who are fundamentally noisemakers. You know, it's not that I disagree with them necessarily. It's not that the noises that they make are wrong or unwarranted, but they are not primarily politicians. I even include Sarah Palin in this. I'm sure she has great political ambitions, but what she is at the moment is an author trying to sell a book, doing quite well.
What's that like, by the way?
It's a slog. But then, of course, I don't have 1.7 million of the things in print the way she does, so maybe it gets a little bit less of a slog if you're making that kind of money.
When it comes to the health care bill, I mean, this for me is the most terrifying bit of legislation that's come along in my life. And a lot of people feel this way. Why is this so bad? I mean, a lot of people just say, oh, we're going to have more competition. We're going to find savings in Medicare, and I love that one. We're going to find all the savings in Medicare, but this is not that big deal.
A couple of things, you know, leap right to mind. One is just a fundamental logical analysis. Saying that we're going to expand the amount of health care given, lower the cost of that health care, and extend this health care to a greater number of people. I didn't get any farther than practical math in high school, but this just doesn't add up. This is like me saying I can smoke, I can drink, I can gain 300 pounds, and then when I'm 95, I can run an Ironman triathlon. You know, I mean, it's just, when Joe Wilson said, you lie, you know, Americans we were a little embarrassed. It looked like Joe had been drinking, but we were thinking, yeah, well, he is lying. You know, he's lying. You know, I mean,
the best line for me, you know, as I've told you before, I'm not a crook. I didn't have sex with that woman. Read my lips, no new taxes. And if you like your health care plan now, you can keep it. What if you have a high deductible plan and you like it?
And I do.
And you like it.
And I like it.
And if this passes?
I won't be able to keep it. I won't be able to keep it.
He is lying.
Or I'll be taxed on having it, on having a plan. Probably because my plan, I'm a subchapter S corporation, so we have a corporate medical plan where the corporation, that is to say pre-tax dollars, pays for all my medical expenses that insurance doesn't cover. This includes optometrists, this includes dentistry, and so on. It's fairly typical.
Hair plugs?
Hair plugs, you bet. Hair plugs for men. That's I just didn't.
Yeah, show it off. Yeah. Show it off, please.
This doesn't happen just overnight.
Just do the hair flip again. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be a target. You know, and everyone who's in my situation is going to be a target also. But let's go back to another reason why people are frightened of this. We know where entitlement programs go. We know once they're instituted, you never get rid of them, and that they always turn out to be much more expensive than they were meant to be. We know this from Social Security, we know this from Medicare, we know this from Medicaid, we know this from every government entitlement program. We even know it from welfare. Then the bill that passed the House, it's 2,000 pages long. 2,000 pages long. Has President Obama read this bill? Has anybody read this bill? I mean, maybe somewhere in some subcommittee, there's some poor 26-year-old, you know, just out of the MA, poli-sci department MA program, who's been taking a forced march through all 2,000 pages, but I doubt it. And this isn't just 2,000 pages which, you know, I mean, this isn't a Harry Potter book. This is 2,000 pages of government gobbledygook, you know. And I'm thinking, you know, you can print the entire Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights and all the amendments on like five pages. 5 pages. 5 pages to run the whole country, 236 years. And 2,000 pages of government pig Latin if you slam your thumb in the car door.
What I found interesting was talking to folks in Canada and finding out that the government-run nationalized health care didn't come with Canada. It's not like they formed their independence and they said, it's part of this, we're going to have nationalized health care. In fact, what they did in the 70s and then in the 80s was they took steps just like we are right now. And people will say, well, this isn't single payer. This is not government-controlled health care. Maybe not, but it is a step that will lead us inevitably towards that. It can only go in one direction. Part
of the people who favor this legislation are deliberately intending to move us toward a single-payer system. They admit it. Part of the people who support this legislation are going to find themselves dragged towards a single-payer system. I think there are some people who support this legislation for the, coming back to the very first thing I said, because it does put a finger on a real and legitimate worry that many, if not all, Americans have. Some people supporting this legislation are going to be shocked. It literally, you know, I mean, we could call them naive at the moment, but they will honestly be shocked that this drags us towards a single
I imagine at some level many Americans, we saw the reaction when it came to town hall meetings and 9/12 groups and tea parties and rallies. People on some level realize my body, my health care should not be left to the same guys who run the post office. And at some level, this scares people.
It does, and it should. On the other hand, it is very hard to stop a piece of legislation that seems to be giving people something for free. And this is a piece of legislation that seems to be giving all of us something for free. Because there's really, I mean, outside of maybe Bill and Melinda Gates, there aren't many people in America who at some level aren't concerned about the cost either of their health care or their parents' health care, their kids' health care, somewhere along the line. Everybody's got that in the back of their mind. Everybody feels a little unstable about where they stand.
What do you think the chances are of this passing? I know you're not out there lobbying and counting votes, but how close is it? We've only got a few seconds left.
I unfortunately think that the chances of it passing are pretty good. And one of the reasons that the chances of passing it are pretty good, one of the reasons that Hillary Clinton's health care bill didn't pass, is that this is blissfully vague, whereas Hillary had thought all this stuff through and had an actual plan, and you could, and I did, a matter of fact, on the pages of the Wall Street Journal, you could attack her plan.
Thank you for cheering me up. What a wonderful day. PJ, always a trip. Here it is. Buy this book so that PJ doesn't have to get a real job driving like crazy. Listen for me on late nights on 850 KOA, and we'll see you next week.
I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.